So you've got a tax return to do and want to get there as quick as possible. In this video, we share our top tips for doing just that. So tip one would be make sure you've got everything together. Sounds an obvious tip, but unfortunately you see it online all the time. I've spent my last few days trawling through Twitter having a look for people to see what they've been up to, and the number one thing that I see is a lack of paperwork. Normally, you're looking at documents that go missing. There's a P45, which is the thing document you get given by your employer if you've left work. There's a P60, which is the one that you have at the end of the year if you're still employed. And then you've got a P11D, which is the one that everybody seems to lose, which is the one that says if you've got any taxable benefits. So if you've got like a company car or some medical insurance, you're going to need that form. Alongside that, you're going to need to know whether you've got a student loan, whether you've got any bank interest. Bank interest is a weird one because really you don't get taxed on it these days unless you've got a lot of savings, because most basic rate taxpayers have got £1,000 tax free each year, but it's still a document that you need to find. If you've got a pension or something like that, you're going to need those details. So if it's a state pension, you'll have a little payment remittance advice type bit of paper that says how much you were getting paid each week. You can calculate it from there. You can also, if you've got a private pension, they send you a P60, so you'd have that as well. If you're self-employed, for example, a freelancer, I saw a lot of creatives doing their tax return on Twitter this season, then just make sure you've got everything you need, especially all of your receipts. So the number one way to increase your income is to reduce your tax bill. Now you can do that lots of different ways by making sure you know the 22,000 pages of tax law behind me. But aside from that, you just want to make sure that you've captured everything and you're not missing a receipt, you know, that Costa that you bought yourself when you're out on a long trip or something like that. So just make sure you've got it all. I always encourage people to make sure that they've got software to do this. So there's Receipt Bank, Auto Entry. There's a lot of receipt capturing apps that are out there now, and I'm just as bad as anybody else at losing receipts, so I have to, before I walk away from the till, make sure I snap them. But if you haven't got anything like that, just make sure you've pulled everything out of your bags, your car, your glove box, anything like that, so you've got them, because you don't want to lose valuable tax deductions. And just make sure as well that you've got your income. The penalties for not getting your tax return right are quite hefty. They're very hefty to start with. If you don't file it, they're £100, and then it goes up quite easily to about £1,600. And then unless you've got a really reasonable excuse, then you're going to get stung for this. So just bear that in mind. But there are penalties for inaccuracies. So just make sure you've definitely accounted for everything. It's always best practice anyway to have a separate bank account if you're a freelancer or a self-employed person. But that helps you then identify, just to make sure you've captured all your income. You know, you might be missing an invoice or something like that when you've come to add it up. So just bear that in mind. But having all that will definitely help. Tip two, this is a massive one. Just make sure you've got the time to do it. So as we're approaching January, I'm just seeing loads and loads of people doing it. Quite a few people did it at Christmas. There was about 3,000 people submitted their tax return on Christmas Day, which is crazy. I love them, but even I'm not there doing it on that day. But just make sure you've given yourself enough time. Leaving it late into January can be a problem. Historically, we've seen problems with the Revenue and Customs site, which can be a bad one. But also you need to register, get a number, all these kind of things. There's a tax reference number you get issued. It's very straightforward to do now. You just go online. If you Google it, just, you know, how to get a self-assessment, you found this video, you can definitely find the link. Just make sure you go in there. There is a link in the description for you to help you, but just have a look. Tip three, make sure you do it online. We just spoke about how to get an online account, but it is technically possible to do it in paper. So if you've got a problem with an internet connection, you can actually do it. I've done a few of these over my working life, and they're not particularly fun on paper, mainly because you don't have the software checking some of the numeracy problems, and you know, you should fill this box in, and if you filled this box in, there should be an entry in this box. It's a very good check-in tool, and it also instantly calculates your tax bill. So just make sure that you do that. You can see exactly where you are, and it all links through your personal tax account. So just make sure that you get that done. Tip four, get some help. If you're really struggling and you've left yourself enough time, then you can definitely go and find some help. Now, as an accountant, I'm going to tell you, come and see us, come and see an accountant, we'll help you out. And of course, we are great for doing that. Our knowledge of the tax law behind us is very good. We're going to maximize your income and we're going to get it right. But if you really want to do it yourself, or you just can't afford an accountant, then have a look. There are some tax charities that can help as well. And again, I'll include a few of those in the link in the description. Also, if you're tech savvy, make sure you check out Twitter. HM Revenue and Customs have a team there. They've been absolutely smashing it out over the last couple of days, making sure that they're talking to everybody on there. So if you've got any kind of more technical questions in terms of what do I do and where do I fill in, just check them out. They're pretty good at this, and then you won't need us. I still think that it's worth a look, especially if you've got things like rental income or you're a business owner. But if you've got something very straightforward and you're pretty savvy with how you handle it, then all the resources you need to help you out with the questions are there. And that's it. That's the top tips to help you out. If you've enjoyed this video and you want to see some more, just make sure to click the subscribe button below, and we'll see you on the next one.